Hi everyone, it's Carrie from Garden Rudiments. Excuse my voice today, I've had strep, just been under the weather, so I'm hoping I can talk through this without coughing. But today we're going to be planting up all the lithops that I bought from Home Depot several weeks ago. And this is the first chance I've had to get out and to get them potted up. They're going to be in the new container that I also bought from Home Depot, and I'm going to put all of these in here. I have put my hardware cloth in the bottom to cover up the drainage hose. And then I'm going to fill this with a well-draining mix, and most of the mix is going to be perlite. These need to just drain completely well. They're not at a point that they need to be watered at this time. I have several that are in the process of splitting. The leaves are drying up, and during this time you don't want to water them. You want them to pull their water and their needs from the leaves that are drying up. So it's probably not the best time to get them out of these pots, but to me, I need to get them in this and let them get more acclimated to a different soil mix. I actually have some that are blooming, and these bloomed after I bought them. They were not blooming when I brought them home from Home Depot, but these have some beautiful little white blooms. And also these. So I have several plants. I have 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 12. I have 12 altogether, and I'm going to put them all in the same pot because they have the same watering needs, although they may need to be watered at different times. So I will work on that to make sure that when some are being watered, others are not. May do it by the dropper full. But anyway, I'm looking forward to this project, and I didn't want to put them all in separate pots. I'm kind of going for more bigger arrangements, and it's a lot easier for me here in the greenhouse to have them in a bigger pot, and that actually takes up less room than having them in a bunch of little pots scattered around. So stay with me and we'll go ahead and get this project started. So if you remember about lithops, they're from the driest regions of South Africa, and they mimic the area, the climate that they're in, so that they can survive without animals eating them to get water, because that's what they would eat them for, is to as a water source, just like you have your elephant bush. Elephants love to eat it. So we're going to put these with their root ball, and if there's any blooms that I can pull off, I'm going to go ahead and take them off. But these need to be buried right up to the edge of the plant. But we're going to leave enough room to be able to put our crushed granite in here also. And I hope I've got enough room for all of these. I may not. But I'm going to kind of keep likes with like. And if I don't have enough room, I'll just end up doing 2 containers. And I'm not going to try to pull off any of their original root ball because I do know I have enough room in here, and I'm not disturbing the root ball when I do this. So they should survive well being replanted. It's not going to be any different for them. I'm not going to water them at this time. You know, while most of them are using up their old original leaves and putting on new ones. And I'm going to give them a little room to grow. And then if they need repotting in the future, I'll just repot them. You can see I'm pulling off some of the dead here. And this is where the old leaves have died. And I'm using just a dibbler to help me out here. So not going to be able to get all of them in here. So I'm going to put likes with likes. So all of these are the same mesom. I'm leaving just like a 1/2 inch between each plant. And then this one, I've had this one now for going on 2 years. And I was afraid he wouldn't live, but I call him he. It seems like I called him Bob in my original video. But he's been with me for a while now. So I'm going to end up with 7 in this pot, and this one is called a Royal Flush. It has a a blush color to it. It's very pretty. All right. That's all it is to planting these. Now for the care of lithops, it's all about watering, and it's all about being acclimated to their environment, because that's what they do naturally. And we're trying to mimic the natural environment that these plants naturally live in. So I won't water while they're splitting. These are called split rocks. So when they're actively using up the leaves, and all of these now are, and I'm gonna let you come in a little bit closer. So if you see, this plant here is putting on 2 new leaves. So it's using up the water from these leaves. It's using up the water from these leaves to grow 2 new sets of leaves. Same with this. This one here, the 2 outer leaves are just about completely shriveled. So it has taken the water from these leaves to survive. And the reason you don't want to water is because these leaves would not go away. They're only supposed to have 2 leaves. If you've got 4, it's where they're using up the other 2, and you need to let them use up that water instead of providing them with supplemental water. So when there's just 2 leaves, that's the time to water and fertilize. And these have already bloomed, so I probably won't fertilize these until the spring. I just want to keep an eye on them. And like this one, if I see it start shriveling up, that's a sign that it needs more water. Same with any of these that just have 2 leaves. And now I'm going to add my crushed granite. I'm going to work with these a little bit. Maybe gently lift them, and so that the base sits right up against the crushed granite, because it's like they hide to protect themselves. So they can and will actually bury themselves to protect themselves from animals, from the heat. If it's gotten too hot in their environment, they will kind of get shifted down under the soil, and then when conditions are right again, they'll come up out of the soil and go on growing. But these are just wonderful little plants. So this one I need to lift up a little bit and just get it under the plant. I don't want them to ever have to sit in water and get soggy, so I want that crushed granite. For the rest of the lithops, these are in the middle of blooming or have bloomed, and some of these are getting a little wrinkled, like they do need some water. And these are called stone face lithops. They have very characteristic markings on their top, and these all had white blooms. And I'm not going to bury the lithops all the way down. And if you can see this, see the wrinkles around the bottom? This one needs watering. It's very dry. So all of these I'm going to water because they have not started splitting at this time. And normally I wouldn't have put such a deep pot. I would have rather had these in something a little more shallow, but this was just a pot that I had out in the greenhouse. And you can see, if you look real close, you can see wrinkling at the base of them. I don't know if this is focus, but you can see wrinkles at the base of the plants. And it's a sign that they need water. And now we're going to put on our crushed granite. With it, keeps insects from laying eggs on top of the soil mix. The plants, the succulents all seem to do well with it. That's the only thing I use it for, is my succulents. And I buy my crushed granite at Tractor Supply. It's chicken scratch, actually. something they feed to chickens so that they can, I think it, now I may be telling you this wrong, but I think it's so that it helps them digest the food that they eat in their crawl. Okay. So we're in well-draining soil mix. Have these all replanted, repotted, and this planter will be watered where the other one will not. So when I place these in my greenhouse, I don't want these to be in full all-day sun. And of course we're in the winter time right now, but I want these to be a little bit protected. So I'm going to put them up under a shelf. They'll still get light as the sun moves across the sky. And of course the sun's a lot lower in the sky at this time of year, but these will all get sunlight, and they do need sunlight. They need to be protected from the hottest part of the day. That's what's bad for them, you know, in the summertime. But with this winter, they'll be fine just sitting on the shelf, and I'll keep an eye on them and I'll water them as I see that they need it. But this has been a good project, and I was so anxious to get these repotted. So if you look on the second lithop, the one that's in the middle of the screen here, you can see where it's starting to put on 2 new leaves. So while it's doing that, I'm not going to water. And that's not a bloom, that's where it's actually putting on 2 new leaves. And this one also, you see where it has bloomed, but yet it's starting to put on 2 leaves. So this is not the time to water these. These should be fine. I didn't disturb the roots. You can see the blush color of this one. So it's no watering for these lithops at this time. You just keep an eye on them. These should do fine. Thank you for watching today, and I hope you enjoyed my project with my lithops. I'm glad to get them repotted, and I hope y'all come back and check on the progress as we go along. So this is the lithops that I planted in the clay pot, and this is a ceramic pot with a different kind of stone face lithop. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time on Garden Rudiments.